This might just be the best movie of the 1980s. Hey guys, welcome back to Nerd Nation. My name is Chase, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the 1985 classic Back to the Future. Fair warning, this review will contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen Back to the Future yet, go watch it. It's an excellent movie, and then come back to this video. Small-town California teen Marty McFly is thrown back into the 50s when an experiment by his eccentric scientist friend Doc Brown goes awry. Traveling through time in a modified DeLorean car, Marty encounters young versions of his parents and must make sure they fall in love or he'll cease to exist. Even more dauntingly, Marty has to return to his own time and save the life of Doc Brown. I don't think it's controversial to say that Back to the Future is one of the best movies ever made. It's a true masterpiece, and it's one of the rare movies I'd call perfect. With a lot of movies, there's at least one thing that's bad with it or didn't work. But when I try and sit down and think about something that was bad or didn't work in Back to the Future, I can't think of anything. However, for this review, I really want to discuss why I think Back to the Future is perfect and what it means to me. Without further ado, let's get started. Let's start with the characters, because I think they're one of the biggest reasons why this movie works so well. Marty McFly is one of the best main characters in any movie ever. Early on in the movie, you find out Marty's home life is pretty terrible. His father is bullied by his supervisor and former high school classmate Biff. His mom is an alcoholic, and his siblings are professional and social failures. This makes you immediately care for him. Plus, Marty is just really cool. Who didn't want to play an electric guitar or ride on the back of a car on your skateboard? Michael J. Fox is also great in the movie, capturing the spirit of an outgoing and confident teenager. Accompanied by Marty is Doc Brown, who's probably my favorite character of the movie and one of my favorite characters of all time. Christopher Lloyd is perfect as this character. He simply would not be as good of a character without Lloyd's mannerisms and facial expressions. I also like that he essentially has to play two different versions of Doc Brown, one from 1985 who has built the time machine, and one from 1955 who hasn't yet built the time machine, and has to help Marty get back to 1985. Together, Marty and Doc probably make for my favorite duo in film history. They are truly excellent together. I also like Marty's parents in the movie. Of course, one of the most iconic parts of this movie is Lorraine falling for her son instead of her eventual husband, and Marty having to hook Lorraine and George up together. I like how Lorraine is more confident and outgoing, while George is more socially awkward and would rather spend his time watching TV or writing. Both Leah Thompson and Crispin Glover are great in the movie, and you really want to see them get together by the end. And of course, you can't talk about this movie without talking about Biff. Thomas F. Wilson is fantastic in this movie. He's such an entertaining antagonist, and his line delivery is pretty much perfect in every scene he's in.
So why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?
The music in this movie is also great. Huey Lewis and the News wrote The Power of Love and Back in Time for this movie, some of the most iconic 80s tracks of all time, especially The Power of Love, and they play super well in here. I always get pumped whenever I hear those songs on the radio or on one of my Spotify playlists. Plus, Alan Silvestri's score for this movie is really good. The theme for this movie is one of my favorites of all time, and Silvestri really elevates the more triumphant moments of the movie with his score. Music is often a key component of what makes a movie so good, and Silvestri's score is no exception. The dialogue in this movie is also fantastic. There are so many great and memorable lines in this movie, such as "Great Scott," or "This is heavy, Doc," or "What are you looking at, butthead?" Just to name a few. This is such an iconic and quotable movie, and pretty much every time I watch it, I have the urge to just quote like half the movie. Something I don't see this movie getting a lot of praise for, at least not as much as the elements I just mentioned, is the set design. The set design is truly impressive because it takes place in two different timelines, 1955 and 1985, and both have to look completely different. All the dresses, building, and even dialogue had to be period accurate. I think they succeeded with flying colors. Hill Valley looks pretty good in 1985, but it especially looks good in 1955. It's clear that there was a lot of work that went into creating this town and the different time periods, and I think it paid off. The pacing in this movie is also just phenomenal. This is one of the most entertaining movies I've ever seen. From beginning to end, there is not a single dull moment. In fact, on my most recent rewatch, I don't think I ever looked away from the screen. And the third act is maybe the most entertaining third act I've ever seen in a movie. Marty basically has to ensure that his parents get together, and he has to go back to 1985 in the same night, so there is not a second to breathe. You're constantly wondering, are his parents going to get together? Is he going to get back to 1985? And seeing this in theaters most recently for the 40th anniversary, I don't think I took a single breath until Marty successfully lands back in 1985. And again, I've seen this movie countless times, yet I was still on the edge of my seat during the third act. That's how entertaining and well-paced this movie is. Overall, Back to the Future is an amazing movie and one of the best movies I've ever seen. Each time I watch it, I'm always incredibly entertained, and I always take something new away from it. It's a true masterpiece, and obviously I'm going to give Back to the Future a 10 out of 10. Guys, thanks so much for watching. What's your favorite movie from the 80s, or one that you feel is underrated? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, I'm going to take a short break in November just to avoid burnout, but rest assured, I'll be back in December with some really fun reviews that you guys won't want to miss. With that said, I'll see you guys in December.